Hello, my name is Lisa Marie Benz, and this is the debut of my new TV show, formerly a radio show called Alive and Kickin' on Location. And I am so excited. This is my first show that I just mentioned, and my first guest, of course, is a local legend here in town, Mr. Tippen Davidson. Hi, Tippen. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I know a while back you were also a guest on my radio show.
That was fun.
And you were so fabulous. That's why you're back again. So now let me introduce all the things that you do in town. My goodness, you are a busy man, and I am just so thrilled that you are here. You are the founder and president of the Florida International Festival.
That's right.
And that must keep you awfully busy.
Well, it runs in spurts during the time that the festival is actually taking place. It's a 19-hour day job, but in off years, it's not perhaps so overwhelming.
And you are so involved in the arts. I mean, right now we are sitting here in the beautiful Seaside Music Theater located in historical Daytona Beach, right on Beach Street. I mean, this is new, this whole front stage where you can actually be wined and dined during a performance. Isn't that right?
That's right.
I know recently I saw Oklahoma, which was fabulous. Now, what else is coming up for Seaside Music Theater?
Well, in a couple of weeks we will open a new piece, a world premiere of Tale of Two Cities. And then after that, we'll open Chicago, which will open in this theater. And then finally, Ragtime, right off Broadway, out at the Daytona Beach Community College Theater.
Boy, I can't wait to see Chicago. That won so many awards, my goodness. Okay, now, not only are you involved with the arts, which we're going to talk more about soon, but you are also the president, CEO, and co-editor of the Daytona Beach News-Journal, which is my favorite newspaper. So how did you get into that? I know it should be. I know I read a little bit about you, and you used to work for the News-Journal, correct?
Seems as though I always have worked for the News-Journal. Actually, I've been at the News-Journal continuously now since 1950, and if you count on both fingers and both toes, you realize that that's 53 years that I've been there now.
Yeah.
So,
and you became...
And I'm still working there.
Right. And, well, when are you going to retire? People must be wondering, when is Tippen Davidson going to retire?
Never.
Never.
I think about it, then I say to myself, what the deuce would I do with myself if I didn't have an office to go to?
Right.
So I don't.
You are awfully busy. Okay, now I want to ask you something. You have a very interesting name, Tippen. And I know that's your nickname.
Yes.
How did you get the nickname Tippen?
I'm not exactly sure. I sort of woke up with it, you understand, but I think it was when I was very, very small trying to say Davidson. So at least that's what my parents think. It sort of grew, and there it was. So.
Well, I think you're the only Tippen I've ever known, or much less ever interviewed.
I was
before.
very much surprised to find out that there's a large family of Volusia County people with the last name Tippens.
My goodness.
Many years, an old and numerous family in Volusia County.
Wow. Well, you know, that leads me to my next question. I read that you are from Chicago, Illinois.
I was born there, yeah.
And what brought you here to Florida? I mean, everyone comes to Florida. They brought you here.
My parents, yes. Okay. I came here, I guess without protest, but I don't remember, at the age of 3. So.
And was it Daytona Beach that they brought you?
Daytona Beach, yes.
Oh, my goodness. And
my father and grandfather acquired the News-Journal as editor and publisher. And they brought me along, and my mother, and so on.
Wow, wow. Okay, and you are also involved in the London Symphony Orchestra, LSO, coming up. And I know they're going to start performing July 11th. Is that right?
The first performance is the 18th.
The 18th. Okay,
yes.
See, now we were talking about dates earlier.
The festival begins on the 11th.
Oh, okay. So if someone goes to the LSO, which I've never been to, what would someone expect to see? Can you tell us what a performance like that is?
Well, it's a more or less formal symphony orchestra concert. The programs are very interesting and absorbing, and the performances are really world class. It's a great orchestra. Even people who don't know or care very much about symphonic music enjoy the LSO because it's so good.
Wow. Well, I'm going to have to go see it this year. That's all I can say.
Well, I should certainly hope so.
Are you going to hook me up?
Yes, you bet.
Okay, and since we're speaking about the arts, you are also very deeply involved in the Lively Arts Center.
That's right.
And can you tell us more about this?
Well, the Lively Arts Center is a concept that we developed of community participation in an art center. Most of the art centers that have been proposed for the state are monumental in size and cost, and with huge auditoriums and municipal or county or state backing. Ours is certainly backed with public funds, but it's a smaller center. The largest hall is 850 seats. The smaller hall will be 250 seats, and it will be the home base of Seaside Music Theater, and it will be the operating scene for a lot of local organizations that have expressed an interest in having a really fine professional theater to work in at a cost which will be supported by an endowment, so they can come and they can afford to come and use the facility. And we are looking at, there's so much interest in it from local groups. We're looking at perhaps 300 to 400 events the first year of the Lively Arts Center. Second thing about it is that it'll have a strong educational background. The University of Central Florida is planning to establish and run a graduate school of musical theater with us, using the basis the professional theater which is there. And the students will spend a first year in Orlando with their studies, then they'll come here for a year and put on their own performances and have their own theater using the 250 seat theater. And then in the third year, they'll become members of the Lively Arts Center company and actually work as professionals. All the time, they'll be having academic work as well. But this is a new concept. Well, it's not absolutely. That's not really absolutely true. This is the idea. The concept was developed by the Oslo Theater by Richard Fallon in Sarasota and has been operating successfully there. But that's not musical, and here we're a musical theater. So that's the difference. The result for the students will be a master's degree in fine arts, and for us will be a lot of fine theater and a lot of youthful enthusiasm and fun.
Definitely.
And for the members of the Seaside Music Theater Company, a lot of opportunities to help young talent.
Now, so how do you handle it when people criticize something that your efforts in trying to do something like this?
I'm going to try to do it better.
That does motivate me also.
I try to take all their criticism seriously, as long as the criticisms are sincerely meant and based on some kind of real improvements that can be made. There have been a lot of unreasoning criticisms of this project, and many constructive criticisms as well, which we have taken good advantage of. Most of the people that have heard about the project are enthusiastic about it. It's being financially supported in a very generous way. We're working very hard to get the ground broken by the first week in January.
Great.
And that will mean 16 months will mean that it will be open possibly in time for the 2005 summer theater season. We'll see about that.
Wow, well that's awesome. I certainly hope it happens, that's for sure. And with your drive, I'm sure it will, which leads me to my next question. What do you think drives you the most to keep pursuing your enthusiasm for the arts and everything that you do? What would you say keeps you so driven?
I don't know. I just stay interested in all these things. And
it's your passion.
I care about it. That's right. It's my passion.
See, and that's part of this show, is not only do I want to find out what people do professionally in the community to help us, but I also want to find out what they do in their leisure time, which of course leads me to my next question, Mr. Tippen Davidson. Can you tell me what you like to do in your leisure time? I've heard that you are an awesome cook.
Well, I like to cook, yes. And I do some sedentary old man's kind of hobbies. I do a lot of reading, and I'm still doing a little composing, musical composing. Much of my so-called spare time is spent on these major hobbies: the festival, the theater, and the Lively Arts Center.
All the things that we've been talking about.
Right.
And I forgot to mention that you also were the conductor in the play Oklahoma.
That's right.
I mean, that was an awesome play. I really enjoyed that. That's when I got a chance to talk to you at the after hours party about doing this interview, and he so graciously obliged.
Oklahoma is a wonderful, wonderful show. It has a really American flavor to it. Chuck Haynes, the director, and I, and Lester Malaysia, the general manager, thought that our version of it ought to try to return a bit to the original spirit of the play. Everybody has tried, ever since it ran on so successfully on Broadway, has tried to find some different way of doing it. We thought we might go back to the bucolic Western idea with the wide open spaces, the corny jokes, the beautiful music, and it plays very well that way. You saw it the other night. You know that it's a very absorbing play.
Definitely. Well, and so can you tell us what the next one is that's coming up? I know we're going into the new season.
Smokey Joe's Cafe in this space where you are is running right now, and the next one will be a very interesting new work. This will be the world premiere of this work. It's a version of A Tale of Two Cities, the Charles Dickens novel, written by Milton Granger, one of our music directors. A beautiful score that he has written, almost through composed, so there's very little dialogue in it, and a very vivid telling of that very dramatic story. That will be out in the college auditorium at the theater center. Then we'll follow that with Chicago, which will be in this space, and then the last thing of the season will be right off Broadway, the new Ragtime, a very American play with a lot of real characters in it, presidents and politicians and inventors and all kinds of interesting people.
Right. Wow. Okay, well, since we're here in Daytona Beach, I have to ask you, do you have a favorite race car driver?
No.
You don't?
No.
You're not into racing at all, huh?
Oh, I love racing, but I don't have a favorite.
You don't root for Jeff Gordon or anyone like that?
No.
He's my favorite, especially now that he's single. Okay, so what are your favorite books to read?
Mystery stories.
You like mysteries, huh?
I like mystery stories. My son and I both like mystery stories, so we exchange. He buys more, and he can read 3 to buy 1, so I'm the beneficiary for this. I get a lot of interesting books from him.
Yes, now you have a daughter also,
yes,
Julia, and she also does a lot with theater as well, right?
She is the associate producer of Seaside Music Theater, and really the hard-headed businesswoman of the theater. And she's also an actress and a singer of very considerable merit, he said modestly. And she's going to be seen in Ragtime in an important part.
Great. I know I had her on my radio show a couple years back, and that was great. She had just completed a play. And I myself have a new admiration for people in plays, because a couple years ago I was in one. It was called Kindly Leave the Stage. Have you heard of that play?
No.
It's a British comedy, and unfortunately a lot of people didn't get it. But now after doing that, it is so much work. I mean, it takes a good 3 months of rehearsals, wouldn't you say, at least?
It will surprise you when I tell you that we put up these big Seaside Music Theater shows, not in 3 months, but in 3 weeks.
Jeez. That's awesome.
This is the way professionals do it.
And you're a true professional. That's why he's on the show.